Well, this is not the setup I thought I was going to have, but this is going to have to work. So this is regarding my friend's computer that I'm building for him. I'm going to be taking this Dell optiplex 7020 and upgrading it just a little bit to where it can play games, like modern-ish games. I'll be getting a SSD and then a boot drive, but right now we're going to be changing out the CPU. I'm going to be hopefully adding an Intel Xeon. It already has a Core i5, but an Intel Xeon I think will be best. However, this Intel Xeon has no pins, like, whatsoever, and I don't know if that's, I compared it to one of my Pentium 4s, try and see if it was the same size. It's around the same size. The Xeon is a little bit bigger, but hopefully it just, I don't know how it's going to work. I've seen it done in a 3020 before. They changed out the i5 with the Xeon, so it must work. I'm gonna get my screwdriver here. First, I'm going to be taking off the CPU heatsink. I'll replace the CPU, apply a new fresh coat of thermal paste. And whenever you're taking off these heat sinks, it's always good to go in an X formation. You never want to untighten one side before the other side. It could cause warping and just overall not be fun. So we're going to go in an X shape just like this. And I'm trying to make it to where you can see something. But figured out that my Mac was too old to install iMovie, so I have no way to use my webcam on it, so that would have been nice to know beforehand. But I got all the parts in, so I think that probably have to go ahead and go on with it. Okay, take off the heatsink. Make sure you unplug the fan so you don't rip the cables out. Or not, maybe. We'll see here. I think we'll just lay it over this way. So as you can see, we've got our Intel Core i5 here, and I have no way of editing this video, but I seem to have forgotten napkins to wipe off the thermal paste, so I will be back. Okay, now I have something to wipe off the excess thermal paste. We're going to lift this lever, we're going to push it out, and then pull it up. Now it is unlocked. Just gently remove the CPU, and just like that, I have now realized that this one doesn't have pins either. I guess I've only worked on older models of machines, so I guess this is the new way of doing it. Just gonna wipe off the thermal paste. Make sure there's none of that left on here. It wasn't actually too bad dried out. So this CPU is going to work fine for what I need it to do. Alright, and there's your Core i5. Put that to the side. Gotta use the... I'm gonna try and figure out how to get this heatsink fan unplugged. Any moment now. There we go. Okay. Oh no! Funny. I can't edit that out either. Okay, let's just put you back up here on your box. Alright, and then we're going to, as you can see, there's a little bit of residue of thermal paste right there. We're going to do that and blow out any unwanted dust as well. Just make sure that nothing is left. I like to take a dry napkin or paper towel or something. Some people use alcohol, and it works way better, but I've yet to use that yet, so I think I'm just going to stick with what I know. And the napkin does take a little while longer. You kind of got to put some pressure on it. Still got some on the corners here. It is a real shame. I do not know how to edit. I have no editing software anywhere. So all of this downtime here, unless I can send the video to somebody to edit, is all gonna be video. This is going to be different for the channel, but it won't be different for me. I do this kind of stuff a lot. So, first of all, we probably should have taken the hard drive caddy out. Thanks to Dell's toolless design, it takes little to no time at all. Okay, next up, we're going to be installing the Intel Xeon. Now, the way you line these up is there's a little arrow on the side here, and there's a corresponding arrow down here that you need to use to line it up. You just gently place it in. Okay. Seems like everything's in. Maybe. Yeah. Alright, you close it down. Then you make sure it's closed down first. Alright, lock it in place. Just like that. And it's successfully installed. I'm gonna get some of the seller's residue off there. And for thermal paste, since it's my first actual CPU changeout, I'm using my dad's thermal coat tube of thermal paste that he uses on fryers and stuff doing maintenance. I don't know if this will work. It's a thermal compound, technically it should. So we're just gonna try it out here. It's way more white than you would expect out of a thermal paste. So we're just gonna put a little dab here, not too much. That should be just enough right there for what we want it to do. This is like industrial grade stuff, so I'm not really sure if this will work. I mean, it transfers heat, does what it's meant to do, so we're just gonna hope. All right, now we put the heatsink back on, line the fan cables up with the fan, and just gently put it down there. All right. And now, just like we unscrewed it, we're going to screw it back in a X fashion. Screw a little bit there, don't tighten it down all the way yet. In fact, we're going to have to unscrew some of that. Just a little bit each time. Okay, now up here. And now back here. Alright, and you just keep going in a pattern the same way until all of them are finally tightened down to 100%. This should evenly spread out the thermal coating. Alright, I think one more pass will do. Okay, that one's tight. You don't want to over tighten these, you want to just go until it stops. Okay, and so I've still got some, and there we go. Everything is nice and tight. All right, and to make sure that you don't get a BIOS message as soon as you plug it in, you're gonna have to plug back in the fan. Be a little bit difficult here. These small form factor machines, I really only have one working large form factor machine, which is good for graphics cards because they're so cheap, bad for gaming because they're so bad. The current one I have in here is a Radeon, 4600 Pro. It's so weird. I don't even know where I got it from. We're going to install the RAM, reinstall the RAM because I took it out because it only had 4 gigabytes and another one of my machines only had 4 gigabytes, so I doubled them to make 8, and it didn't really do much better, and it has to function with the RAM. So next up on the list, we've got the thermal paste and the CPU done. Next up, we have the graphics card. So with these toolless designs, you pretty much don't need anything to replace a lot of the stuff. So this GPU should just come right out. Gotta get a little bit forceful with it, but not too forceful. You don't want to break anything important. All right, there's the old GPU, has S video and DVI, no fan, no external power. It's a really low power card. Here I have, well, the sellers, I bought 2 of these. The sellers, they listed them as C550s, C553s actually. But I looked on the internet and the only thing I could find was an R5 something completely different, but it looked exactly like this. So I hope they had some pretty good benchmarks. So we're just gonna install this here. Not very good breathing room for the fan. That'll be fine though. It doesn't really need all that kind of cooling. It's not going to be terrible. We're just going to install it here. And sadly, on that hard drive that I did have in here, I already installed the drivers for that old old card. That card came out of a computer from 2008. So, just trying to center this in here without breaking anything, because that would be terrible. And that is obviously not in there right. So we're about to pull this back out and see what's wrong here. Okay. See what the big deal is. All right, let's try again. Line it up with the holes on the PCIe slot. Something is weird with this card. Why is it not fitting? Okay, that should do it. Yep, that is perfectly in there. Okay, so there's that. Like I said, not a lot of airflow. I can fit 1-2 fingers in there, but it'll work for what we're trying to do with it. Now we've installed RAM, the CPU, we've installed the new GPU. I will get 16 gigabytes of RAM. This is DDR3 RAM. I will eventually get that. But for now, this is all the parts I've gotten in so far. And in this configuration, it should work. We should be able to install the drivers, install the new, make sure it sees the Xeon. It's rather that or it ends in catastrophic failure. I would like to take the first, but we're just going to reinstall our hard drive here. This is in no way permanent, but this is just the working hard drive that has Windows 10 on it. I'm not taking a boot drive out of my server computer. Gotta find this cable for the CD-RAM or the CD-ROM drive. Okay, and next up, we should find the shroud for the CPU fan cooler. And I actually broke one of these first time I was trying to take one off. It's pretty sad. All right, next up we have this CD-ROM drive. We're just going to put in there like so. And we're gonna find the power cable. Try and put it in there the right way the first time. Obviously isn't going that way. Okay, now for the SATA data cable. Okay, and that should be everything. We're gonna go ahead and put on this casing here. Okay, and we're going to try and fire it up, see what we got. I guess I'll show you the process here. So we've got the VGA port right here. It's pretty straightforward stuff. Okay, and just screw that in like so. Make sure it's not going to fall out. And then we'll come over here. To our lovely drawer of goodness. get a power cable out, grab this keyboard, and we will also grab that mouse. But for now, just grab this. This is a Bluetooth keyboard I like using because I do not like the cables everywhere. It's not a good look. Alright, power cable. We're not going to be plugging it in yet. We'll be plugging it into this outlet over here, but as for into the computer, not yet. Gotta turn on our monitor here. We'll see. Oh, that's not it. There we go. VGA. Okay. Believe we're on VGA. Nope, not yet. Alright. That's VGA. Okay, let's get this mouse out of my iMac real quick. Well, I seem to have forgotten to put that GPU over there. This over here, and this. And I'm not guaranteeing that this will work first try, but we're going to try at least. Okay. Alright, and let's plug it in here. Okay, we got a sound of the fan spinning up. Okay, we've got an orange light. PSU failure. Okay. See, that's not supposed to happen. And bad things about these is these PSU failures is unplugged. And so that's not good. It's not supposed to happen. Last time this happened to me, it was the CMOS battery. See if I can even find the CMOS battery. It's probably under all this stuff here. Okay. I have to put you back up on your box here. Alright. And this is no good. So I highly doubt it's actually a PSU failure. Power supply failures are not common, but this orange light of death is. Normally does not have anything to do with the power supply. Sometimes it means that the computer needs to be grounded. Here's our CMOS battery here. We're going to go ahead and take that out. So every other time I've done this, I've used a screwdriver, so maybe we won't die. Gonna get the smallest one we can. All right. Take out the CMOS battery here. Okay, CMOS battery's out. Nothing wrong with it here. All right. Now we'll plop that back in. And I guess we can test it this way. Let's go ahead and put the shroud back on, just so the CPU is getting constant airflow. Okay, GPU is good. Okay, so if you can see, we're still getting our orange light here. This is... Okay, so let's try and turn it back on. Okay, so we're killing this thing somehow. Let's go ahead and... Oh yeah, alright, so we've encountered something bad, I guess. Last time I had this problem, a simple taking out the CMOS battery, because it was a direct cause of taking out the CMOS battery, never has it spun up the fans. At least we know that fan is working. Okay, we could have done something bad here. I don't know what it is that we could have done. What we did do. I guess let's start taking out stuff and replacing it until it starts to work again. Okay, first off, you're going back on your box here. We're gonna go with the GPU. Okay, GPU is out, and we won't be replacing that with the old one, just leaving it empty. I'm going to reseat the RAM. That's also been a direct cause to that, to make sure there's nothing wrong with the RAM. I'm going to replace it. Okay, and we reseated the RAM, took out the GPU. We're gonna see if it's still pitching a fit here. If this is genuine PSU failure, which I don't think it is. Okay, we got a green light, still orange here. And no post. So well, this has been a disappointment. I do not know what to do in this situation. I have done all that I can. Okay, well, I'm going to do some research, and hopefully the video will pick up from there. Let's see what I've done.